Disclaimer: this video is for educational and informational purposes only and provides a summary and discussion of the key ideas from the book. It is not a substitute for reading the book in its entirety. To fully appreciate the depth and nuances of the content, we encourage you to read the original book. Links to purchase the book are provided in the description below. The insights shared in this video reflect personal interpretations and opinions, and we highly recommend exploring the book yourself for a comprehensive understanding. About the author: Tony Robbins is a world-renowned life coach, author and motivational speaker, best known for his work in personal development, peak performance, and self-empowerment. With over 4 decades of experience, Robbins has helped millions of people transform their lives through his seminars, books, and audio programs. His best-selling books, including Awaken the Giant Within and Unlimited Power, offer practical strategies to take control of one's emotions, finances, and relationships, helping individuals unlock their true potential. Robbins continues to inspire through his charitable work and global influence, empowering others to create lasting change in their lives. Overview of the book: Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is a groundbreaking self-help book that provides readers with the tools and strategies to take control of their lives and unlock their full potential. Robbins focuses on the power of decision-making, the influence of beliefs, and the importance of mastering emotions to create lasting change. He introduces concepts such as Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC, to help break destructive patterns and foster empowering habits. The book is divided into 2 main sections. In the first part, Robbins helps readers unleash their personal power by exploring the forces that shape their lives, such as belief systems, emotions, and decisions. The second part dives into creating long-term change by understanding life values, setting goals, and building a compelling future. Through practical exercises, motivational insights, and real-life examples, Robbins encourages readers to redefine their identity, take responsibility for their actions, and set themselves on a path toward personal and professional success. While the book provides actionable steps, it emphasizes that real transformation comes from consistent effort and commitment to personal growth. Part 1: Unleash Your Power. Chapter 1: Dreams of Destiny. In the first chapter, Tony Robbins lays the groundwork for personal transformation by highlighting the immense power of human potential. He argues that each one of us has a giant within, a part of us capable of achieving extraordinary things. But too often, external factors like fear, doubt, or past failures hold us back. The main idea here is that no matter where you are in life right now, you have the power to change your destiny through the decisions you make today. It all begins with having a clear vision of what you want in life. Robbins points out that many people fall short of their dreams because they've lost sight of them, or they've simply accepted mediocrity as their norm. Key takeaways: 1. Reconnect with your dreams. This chapter encourages reflecting on what you truly want in life. Think back to the dreams you once had before fear or self-doubt got in the way. The first step to awakening your giant is to reconnect with that vision. 2. Take responsibility for your life. Robbins emphasizes that you are not a victim of your circumstances. Instead, you are the architect of your future. No matter what challenges life has thrown your way, how you respond, the decisions you make moving forward will define the direction of your life. 3. Raise your standards. Too many people settle for far less than they're capable of because it feels comfortable. Robbins challenges us to raise our standards and refuse to accept anything less than what we deserve. This means not settling for mediocrity in any area of life, whether it's career, health, or relationships. To illustrate these ideas, Robbins shares powerful stories of individuals who have overcome incredible odds by refusing to let their circumstances dictate their future. The message is clear. We each have the power to shape our lives, but it starts with reconnecting to our dreams and making the decision to pursue them, no matter what. Actionable steps. 1. Write down your dreams. Take a moment to write down the life you want to live, in as much detail as possible. Don't worry about how you'll achieve it just yet, but be specific. What do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? 2. Start making decisions aligned with your vision. Once you have a clear picture of your dreams, begin to make decisions that move you closer to that reality. Whether it's learning a new skill, changing your daily habits, or eliminating distractions, every decision counts. By the end of this chapter, Robbins wants us to feel empowered to take charge of our lives, knowing that the giant within can be awakened by making the decision to dream big and act on those dreams. Chapter 2, Decisions, the Pathway to Power. In Chapter 2, Tony Robbins dives deep into the idea that decisions are the driving force behind everything we experience in life. Robbins argues that it's not circumstances, luck, or outside influences that determine where we end up. It's the decisions we make, both big and small. Our ability to decide shapes our destiny, and the power of those decisions is far greater than most people realize. The central message of this chapter is that every decision matters. Whether it's choosing how to spend your time, what to focus on, or how to react to a situation, each decision compounds over time and creates the life you live. Robbins emphasizes that even the act of not making a decision is, in itself, a decision with its own consequences. The 3 decisions that shape your life. 1. What you choose to focus on. Where you direct your focus determines your emotional state, and that in turn impacts your behavior. For instance, if you focus on your problems, you'll feel overwhelmed or stuck. But if you focus on potential solutions or opportunities, you'll feel empowered and more likely to take positive action. 2. The meaning you give to events. The meaning you assign to any situation influences how you experience it. 2 people can go through the same event and interpret it in completely different ways. Robbins stresses that you have the power to decide what meaning you attach to your experiences, which in turn shapes how you feel and act. 3. What you decide to do. Decisions are only powerful if they're followed by action. It's not enough to have an idea or goal. You have to back it up with real steps that push you toward your vision. Even small decisions, like adjusting your daily routine, can lead to huge changes over time if done consistently. Key takeaways. 1. Your life is shaped by your decisions, not by circumstances. Robbins emphasizes that you are in control. Even when life feels uncertain or challenging, you can always make a choice. What you choose to focus on, the meaning you give events, and the actions you take are all within your control. 2. Decisions lead to empowerment or disempowerment. The quality of your decisions determines the quality of your life. When you make decisions based on your core values and long-term goals, you empower yourself. On the other hand, making choices based on immediate emotions or external pressures can disempower you. 3. Take action. Don't just decide. The key to turning decisions into power is action. It's easy to say you want change, but real transformation happens when you commit to consistent actions that align with your vision. Throughout the chapter, Robbins gives examples of how successful people have transformed their lives by making powerful decisions. It's not about having more resources or being in the perfect situation. It's about making decisions and following through with massive action, no matter what challenges come your way. Actionable steps. 1. Be mindful of what you're focusing on. Throughout the day, pay attention to where your mind is. Are you focusing on problems or are you looking for solutions? Train yourself to redirect your focus toward opportunities and things you can control. 2. Assign empowering meanings to situations. When something happens, whether good or bad, take a moment to decide what meaning you're going to attach to it. Choose a meaning that will drive you forward rather than hold you back. 3. Take one bold action today. Decide on one area of your life where you've been procrastinating or playing small, and take a bold action that moves you closer to your goal. Whether it's making a difficult phone call, starting a new habit, or ending something that's holding you back, take action now. Robbins drives home the point that your life doesn't change because of external events. It changes because of the decisions you make and the actions you take based on those decisions. In this chapter, he urges you to recognize the power you have over your own life and to start using that power to shape the future you want. Chapter 3, The Force That Shapes Your Life. In Chapter 3, Tony Robbins explores one of the most powerful influences on human behavior: beliefs. Robbins argues that beliefs are the force that shapes every aspect of our lives. Whether we realize it or not, what we believe about ourselves, others, and the world around us directly impacts how we think, feel, and act. The core idea here is that our beliefs create a filter through which we interpret every experience. This filter can either empower us or limit us. Robbins explains that many of us have developed limiting beliefs over time, which keep us from achieving our full potential. On the other hand, empowering beliefs, those that encourage and uplift us, help us move toward our goals and dreams. Key concept: beliefs shape reality. Robbins introduces the idea that beliefs are not necessarily based on truth, but rather on the meaning we give to our experiences. For example, if someone fails at something and believes "I'm not good enough," that belief will shape their future actions, leading them to avoid challenges and opportunities. But if the same person believes failure is part of growth, they'll continue to push forward despite setbacks. According to Robbins, most people never question their beliefs. They accept them as truth, not realizing that these beliefs are actually decisions they've made about how the world works. The good news is that since beliefs are decisions, they can be changed. By identifying and replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones, we can transform our lives. Key takeaways. 1. Your beliefs are decisions. Robbins emphasizes that our beliefs are not fixed truths. They are decisions we've made, often unconsciously. This means we have the power to change them if they no longer serve us. 2. Beliefs determine behavior. The actions we take are largely driven by what we believe. If you believe you're capable of success, you're more likely to take risks and pursue your goals. If you believe you're doomed to fail, you'll hesitate or give up before you even try. 3. Limiting versus empowering beliefs. Robbins distinguishes between limiting beliefs, which hold us back, for example, "I'm not smart enough," and empowering beliefs which propel us forward, for example, "I can learn anything if I put in the effort." The key is to recognize and challenge the limiting beliefs that are sabotaging your progress. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares examples of people who have achieved extraordinary success despite facing extreme adversity. What set them apart was not their talent or resources, but their belief in their ability to overcome obstacles. He also gives examples of individuals who had everything they needed to succeed, but were held back by limiting beliefs about their own capabilities. One of the exercises Robbins suggests is to look at different areas of your life, career, relationships, health, and identify the beliefs that are driving your decisions. Are these beliefs helping or hindering you? By consciously challenging and changing limiting beliefs, you can open yourself up to new possibilities. Actionable steps. 1. Identify your limiting beliefs. Take some time to think about the beliefs that may be holding you back. What do you believe about your abilities, relationships, or success? Are those beliefs helping or hurting you? 2. Challenge those beliefs. For each limiting belief you identify, challenge it by asking, "Is this really true?" Often, you'll find that these beliefs are based on fear or past experiences, not on facts. 3. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Once you've identified a limiting belief, replace it with a more empowering belief. For example, if you believe "I'm not good with money," replace that with "I can learn how to manage my finances effectively." The core message of this chapter is that your beliefs are shaping your life, whether you realize it or not. By taking control of your beliefs and consciously choosing those that empower you, you can begin to shape your life in a way that aligns with your goals and desires. Robbins reminds us that we have the power to choose our beliefs, and by doing so, we can transform our reality. Chapter 4. Belief systems, the power to create and the power to destroy. In Chapter 4, Tony Robbins delves deeper into the concept of belief systems and their immense power, both to create opportunities and to destroy potential. He explains that our beliefs serve as the foundation for every thought, decision, and action we take in life. They act as the lens through which we see the world and dictate what we believe is possible or impossible for us. Robbins argues that the most successful people in the world share one thing in common. They have empowering beliefs that drive them toward achieving their goals. Conversely, those who struggle often have limiting beliefs that sabotage their efforts before they even begin. Key concept: belief systems as filters. Our belief system is like a mental filter that influences how we interpret events and experiences. Robbins explains that every belief we hold either strengthens us or weakens us, depending on whether it's rooted in possibility or limitation. For instance, if someone believes they can't succeed because of a past failure, they're likely to continue failing because they've already decided it's inevitable. On the other hand, a belief in one's capacity to grow and learn can open doors to greater success. The cycle of beliefs. Robbins highlights a self-reinforcing cycle that governs how beliefs affect our lives. 1. Beliefs shape our expectations. If you believe you can achieve something, you expect success, which pushes you to take action. If you believe you'll fail, you expect failure, and this affects your willingness to try. 2. Expectations affect our actions. When you expect to succeed, you take bold, confident action. When you expect failure, you either avoid taking action or do so with hesitation. 3. Actions lead to results. The way we act based on our beliefs influences the results we get. Positive beliefs lead to confident action, which usually yields better results, reinforcing the belief that we are capable. 4. Results reinforce our beliefs. When we see positive results, it strengthens the belief that we can succeed. Conversely, negative results can reinforce limiting beliefs. Key takeaways. 1. Beliefs are powerful shapers of reality. Robbins stresses that what you believe is what you become. If you hold on to limiting beliefs, you'll limit your potential. If you adopt empowering beliefs, you open yourself up to greater possibilities. 2. You can change your belief system. Beliefs aren't permanent. Robbins teaches that beliefs are decisions you make about reality, and you can choose to adopt new, more empowering beliefs at any time. 3. Beliefs impact every area of life. Whether it's your relationships, career, health, or finances, the beliefs you hold about yourself and the world are influencing every outcome. Becoming aware of those beliefs is the first step to taking control. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares real-life stories of people who broke free from limiting beliefs and achieved remarkable success. One powerful example is an athlete who was told by doctors that he would never walk again after a severe injury. Refusing to accept this belief, he worked relentlessly on his recovery and eventually returned to competitive sports. Robbins uses examples like these to illustrate that our beliefs are not set in stone. They can be challenged, redefined, and reshaped. He also explains how beliefs around money, relationships, and success can either propel people forward or hold them back. Someone who believes money is the root of all evil might unconsciously sabotage their financial success, while someone who believes money is a tool for doing good may seek out opportunities to create wealth and help others. Actionable steps. 1. Identify disempowering beliefs. Robbins encourages reflecting on the beliefs that are holding you back. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself, my abilities, and my potential? Write down any limiting beliefs you uncover. 2. Challenge those beliefs. Once you've identified a limiting belief, question its validity. Is it really true, or is it just a story you've been telling yourself? Ask, what evidence do I have that this belief is false? 3. Adopt empowering beliefs. Replace your limiting beliefs with more empowering ones. If you believe I'm not good at making decisions, replace it with I can make great decisions and learn from every experience. Reinforce these new beliefs through daily affirmations and by taking actions that align with them. This chapter is all about understanding how much control we have over our belief systems and, by extension, our lives. Robbins wants us to see that by consciously choosing to adopt empowering beliefs, we can change not only how we see ourselves, but also what we are capable of achieving. Beliefs, Robbins argues, are the true force behind every success and every failure. Chapter 5. Can change happen in an instant? In Chapter 5, Tony Robbins tackles the question that often stops people from pursuing personal transformation. Can change really happen in an instant? The answer, according to Robbins, is a resounding yes. He argues that while most people believe that meaningful change is a slow and gradual process, real and lasting change can happen in a single moment, the moment you decide to change. Robbins explains that the misconception about change taking a long time comes from people confusing the decision to change with the process leading up to that decision. While the build-up to that decision may take years, frustration, hesitation, fear, the actual change itself happens in an instant, the moment you make a firm decision and commit to it. The power of a decision. At the heart of this chapter is the idea that change happens the moment you make a decision, a real, committed decision. Robbins emphasizes that many people don't experience true change because they make wishes rather than decisions. A wish is passive and lacks commitment, while a decision is a conscious choice followed by determined action. The difference is in the level of commitment. Once you decide to change, there's no turning back. He uses the metaphor of burning your boats to illustrate this. When you make a real decision, there are no escape routes or fallback options. You must move forward because you've eliminated any path back to your old behavior. Key takeaways. 1. Change is not a long, drawn-out process. Robbins challenges the belief that change must take time. The moment you make a clear and committed decision, the change has already begun. The struggle is in building up to that decision, not in the change itself. 2. Leverage emotional intensity. Robbins stresses that real change often occurs when people reach an emotional tipping point. When the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change, people decide to act. He encourages tapping into your emotions to fuel that decision-making process. 3. Decide with certainty. Once you make the decision to change, commit to it fully. A true decision means cutting off any other possibilities, so there's no going back. That level of certainty and commitment is what creates lasting transformation. The role of Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC. Robbins introduces the concept of Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC, a strategy he developed to recondition the way we respond to triggers and experiences. This system is designed to help people break destructive patterns by associating pain with negative behaviors and pleasure with positive actions. By conditioning your brain to connect bad habits or limiting beliefs with pain and empowering habits with pleasure, change becomes not only possible but sustainable. NAC operates on the idea that we can rewire our brain's associations, and Robbins stresses that it's through these instant moments of emotional intensity that we can create lasting shifts in behavior. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of people who made life-changing decisions in an instant, such as individuals who overcame addictions, changed careers, or turned their lives around by making one committed decision to transform their circumstances. He points out that the decision is often sparked by a significant event or realization, but the key is not to wait for a crisis. Instead, we can actively choose to change at any moment. Actionable steps. 1. Get clear on what needs to change. Robbins suggests taking a moment to identify the area of your life that you know needs to change, whether it's your health, relationships, finances, or career. Be specific about what needs to happen. 2. Leverage emotional pain and pleasure. Reflect on the consequences of not making a change. What will it cost you emotionally, physically, and financially if you stay the same? Then, think about the immense pleasure and satisfaction that will come from making the change. 3. Make a committed decision today. Don't wait for the perfect moment or more information. Decide right now to make the change. Once you've made the decision, commit to taking immediate action, no matter how small. Robbins closes this chapter by encouraging us to stop waiting for change to happen over time and to take control of our lives in the moment. True transformation is always within reach, and it begins the moment you decide to act with certainty and follow through with relentless action. Chapter 6: How to Change Anything in Your Life. The Science of Neuro-Associative Conditioning. In Chapter 6, Tony Robbins introduces a powerful system he developed called Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC, which is designed to help individuals create lasting change in their lives by reprogramming the way they respond to experiences and triggers. The focus here is on how we can condition our brains to associate pain with destructive behaviors and pleasure with empowering actions, essentially rewiring the way we think and act. Robbins explains that our behaviors are driven by the desire to avoid pain and gain pleasure. However, many of us are trapped in patterns where we subconsciously associate pleasure with harmful habits, for example, smoking, overeating, and pain with behaviors that would improve our lives, for example, exercise, financial discipline. Neuro-associative conditioning is a process that helps break these destructive patterns and replace them with empowering ones by reshaping those pain-pleasure associations. Key concept: conditioning the brain. At the core of neuro-associative conditioning is the understanding that much of our behavior is conditioned by repeated experiences and the emotions we associate with those experiences. For example, if someone repeatedly feels stressed and turns to junk food for comfort, they've conditioned themselves to associate junk food with relief or pleasure. Over time, this behavior becomes automatic, even though it's harmful. Neuro-associative conditioning seeks to break these associations and form new, empowering ones. Robbins emphasizes that this process is not about willpower alone, which can fail over time. Instead, it's about reshaping the emotional associations your brain makes so that the desired behavior becomes natural and effortless. The 6 steps of neuro-associative conditioning. Robbins lays out 6 specific steps within the neuro-associative conditioning process that can be used to change any behavior or belief. 1. Decide what you really want and what's preventing you from getting it. The first step is clarity. You need to define exactly what you want to change and what's standing in your way. Whether it's a habit, fear, or belief, you have to pinpoint the specific behavior that's holding you back. 2. Associate massive pain with the current behavior or belief. To break a destructive pattern, you must associate significant pain with continuing that behavior. This requires focusing on the long-term consequences and making them emotionally real for yourself. For example, if you want to stop smoking, imagine the worst possible outcomes, like severe health problems, and truly feel the emotional weight of those consequences. 3. Associate massive pleasure with the new empowering behavior. Next, you need to link the desired behavior with pleasure. Visualize and feel the benefits of making the change. For example, if you want to get fit, vividly imagine how great it would feel to be healthy, strong, and energetic. This emotional shift helps reinforce the new habit. 4. Interrupt the limiting pattern. To change a habit, you must break the old pattern. Robbins suggests doing something unusual or disruptive whenever you catch yourself falling into the old behavior. For example, if you feel the urge to smoke, immediately do something that interrupts the craving, like doing push-ups or drinking water. This breaks the automatic response. 5. Condition the new behavior until it's consistent. Repetition is key. You have to practice the new behavior repeatedly, conditioning your mind and body to adopt it as the new normal. This means focusing on small, consistent actions that reinforce the new pattern, like exercising regularly or choosing healthier meals. Over time, these behaviors will become automatic. 6. Test it and reinforce it. Finally, you need to check in with yourself to make sure the new behavior is taking hold. Reward yourself for sticking to the new behavior and celebrate your progress. Positive reinforcement strengthens the new association and solidifies the change. Key takeaways. 1. Behavior is driven by the need to avoid pain and gain pleasure. Robbins emphasizes that the root of all behavior lies in these two forces. By shifting what we associate with pain and pleasure, we can dramatically change our actions. 2. Lasting change requires conditioning, not just willpower. The reason most people fail at changing behaviors is that they rely solely on willpower. Neuro-Associative Conditioning works because it reconditions the emotional associations we have with certain actions, making change feel natural and sustainable. 3. Interrupting patterns is essential. If you want to stop a negative behavior, you need to disrupt the habitual response. By doing something unexpected or unusual in the moment, you break the automatic link between the trigger and the action. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares real-life stories of people who used neuro-associative conditioning to overcome addictions, fears, and bad habits. One notable example is a man who struggled with smoking for years, but was able to quit by linking massive pain to smoking and immense pleasure to the benefits of being smoke-free. Through repetition and conditioning, he transformed his habits and no longer craved cigarettes. Robbins also explains how he used this method to change his own behaviors, particularly in terms of building a successful career by associating pain with staying stagnant and pleasure with pushing himself to grow. Actionable steps. 1. Identify a behavior you want to change. Pinpoint the specific habit, belief, or action that's holding you back. Be as specific as possible. 2. Link massive pain to the behavior. Spend time visualizing and feeling the long-term negative consequences of continuing this behavior. Make it emotionally real for yourself. 3. Link massive pleasure to the new behavior. Imagine how your life will improve if you make the change. What benefits will you experience? What will your life look and feel like? 4. Interrupt the old pattern. Every time you catch yourself falling into the old behavior, do something that breaks the pattern, something unexpected that stops the automatic response. Neuro-associative conditioning is about more than just trying harder. It's about rewiring your brain to associate the right emotions with the right actions. Through consistent conditioning, Robbins shows that anyone can change any aspect of their life, no matter how deeply ingrained the old behavior may be. Chapter 7. How to Get What You Really Want. In Chapter 7, Tony Robbins shifts focus to helping you clarify and pursue your true desires. Robbins argues that most people don't achieve what they want in life because they aren't clear on what they actually want. Without a well-defined goal, it's impossible to achieve lasting success or happiness. This chapter is about learning how to get crystal clear on your goals and harnessing the power of focus to make them a reality. Robbins explains that the process of achieving what you really want starts with understanding what drives you. Many people set goals based on societal expectations or external pressures, but these often fail to inspire lasting motivation. Robbins encourages going deeper, identifying what truly excites you, and focusing on the emotional reasons behind your desires. Key concept: clarity is power. The first major takeaway from this chapter is that clarity is power. The clearer you are about what you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. Robbins explains that vague desires like "I want to be successful" or "I want to be happy" are not powerful enough to drive sustained action. Instead, you need to get specific. What does success look like to you? What exactly will make you feel happy? Once you define exactly what you want, the next step is to understand why you want it. Robbins stresses that emotions are the fuel behind every achievement. When you connect your goals to strong emotions, like the desire for freedom, security, or love, your motivation to achieve them increases significantly. It's not enough to intellectually want something, you need to feel it deeply. Key takeaways. 1. Be specific about what you want. Vague goals don't inspire action. Be detailed about your desires. For example, instead of saying "I want to be fit," Say, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months by working out 5 times a week and eating healthier. 2. Connect your goals to emotions. Understanding why you want something is key to staying motivated. Ask yourself what emotional rewards you'll experience when you achieve your goal. For example, wanting to improve your finances might be driven by a desire for security or freedom. 3. Focus creates power. Robbins explains that whatever you focus on consistently becomes your reality. When you focus intensely on your goals and the reasons why you want to achieve them, your brain starts to find ways to make them happen. This is where the power of focus comes in. When you focus on your goal with clarity and emotion, you align your actions with achieving that goal. Robbins' 5 steps to getting what you really want. Robbins introduces a simple yet powerful 5-step process to help you get what you truly desire. 1. Raise your standards. The first step to getting what you want is to raise your expectations of yourself. Don't settle for mediocrity. Robbins emphasizes that you must demand more from yourself and commit to living by higher standards. This means making your goals non-negotiable and treating them as must-haves, not nice-to-haves. 2. Change your limiting beliefs. Once you've raised your standards, you need to eliminate any beliefs that are holding you back. Robbins highlights the importance of identifying and replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. For example, instead of thinking, I'm not good with money, shift to, I have the power to manage my finances and create wealth. 3. Set clear goals. Be specific about what you want to achieve. Set measurable goals that you can track and make sure they align with your values and desires. Break them down into actionable steps so you can make steady progress. 4. Develop a strategy. Once you've set your goals, it's time to develop a strategy to achieve them. This means identifying the specific actions you need to take, as well as the resources and knowledge required. Robbins emphasizes that flexibility is key here. Your strategy may evolve as you learn more, so be open to adjusting it along the way. 5. Take massive action. The final and most important step is to take massive, consistent action. Robbins emphasizes that many people fail because they take a wait-and-see approach, rather than diving in and committing to the necessary steps. He advises taking bold actions toward your goals every day. Examples from the chapter. Robbins uses examples of individuals who transformed their lives by getting crystal clear on their goals and taking massive action. He recounts stories of people who shifted their focus from vague desires to specific emotion-driven goals, which led to rapid, life-changing results. For example, Robbins shares the story of a woman who had struggled with weight loss for years. When she got clear about why she wanted to lose weight, focusing on her health, confidence, and desire to live a longer life for her children, she was able to stay motivated and achieve her goal. Her success came not just from wanting to lose weight, but from tying that desire to deeply personal, emotional reasons. Actionable steps. 1. Write down what you truly want. Take some time to write out exactly what you want in different areas of your life: career, health, relationships, finances. Be specific and detailed about your desires. 2. Connect to the emotional why. For each goal, ask yourself why you want it. What emotional benefits will achieving this goal give you? Write those down as well to remind yourself of the deeper reasons behind your desires. 3. Commit to daily action. Break down your goals into smaller, actionable steps that you can take each day. Commit to doing something every day that brings you closer to what you want. This chapter is about aligning your focus, emotions, and actions toward your deepest desires. Robbins makes it clear that getting what you want in life is not a mystery or a matter of luck. It's about having clarity, emotional connection, and relentless action. Once you master these elements, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 8. Questions are the answer. In Chapter 8, Tony Robbins emphasizes the incredible power of questions and how they can shape our thoughts, emotions, and ultimately our lives. Robbins argues that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of the questions you consistently ask yourself. This chapter is all about using the right questions to guide your mind towards solutions, opportunities, and personal growth. Robbins explains that our brains are constantly seeking answers to the questions we ask, whether we realize it or not. The problem is, most people tend to ask disempowering questions like, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "What's wrong with me?" These types of questions lead to negative emotions, feelings of helplessness, and a lack of progress. On the other hand, empowering questions like, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I make this better?" direct our focus towards solutions, growth, and positive action. Key concept: your questions control your focus. The central idea in this chapter is that questions control focus. Since what we focus on largely determines how we feel and act, asking the right questions can help us change our emotional state and guide us toward better outcomes. Robbins explains that by asking better questions, we can change the way we interpret events, shift our perspective, and find new ways to overcome challenges. For example, when faced with a difficult situation, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you could ask, "How can I use this to grow?" or "What's great about this that I haven't noticed yet?" These types of questions help you reframe the situation, turning obstacles into opportunities. Key takeaways. 1. Questions shape your focus. The questions you ask yourself determine where you direct your attention. If you ask questions that focus on problems, you'll feel stuck and overwhelmed. If you ask questions that focus on solutions, you'll feel empowered and motivated to act. 2. Your brain is a problem-solving machine. Robbins explains that your brain will always find answers to the questions you ask. If you ask disempowering questions, your brain will come up with disempowering answers. By asking empowering questions, you train your brain to focus on positive outcomes. 3. Questions determine emotional states. The way you feel is often a direct result of the questions you ask yourself. For example, asking, "What am I grateful for today?" can immediately shift your emotional state to one of gratitude and positivity. Robbins' 3 types of questions. Robbins outlines 3 types of questions that can drastically improve your life when used consistently. 1. Questions that focus on the present. These questions help you appreciate the moment and direct your focus toward what's going well right now. For example, "What can I be happy about today?" or "What's great in my life right now?" 2. Questions that focus on learning and growth. These questions help you see challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. For example, "What can I learn from this experience?" or "How can I make the most of this situation?" 3. Questions that focus on the future. These questions guide you toward creating a compelling future. For example, "What can I do today to get closer to my goals?" or "What exciting possibilities are available to me right now?" Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares personal stories of how asking the right questions has helped him overcome obstacles and grow both personally and professionally. One example involves a business challenge where instead of focusing on the problem and asking, "Why is this happening to us?" he asked, "How can we turn this challenge into an opportunity?" By shifting his focus through the use of empowering questions, Robbins was able to find creative solutions that not only resolved the problem, but also improved the business. Robbins also highlights stories from people who have transformed their lives by changing the types of questions they ask themselves. He explains how individuals who were once stuck in negative patterns began to see opportunities and take control of their lives simply by asking better questions. Actionable steps. 1. Start with empowering questions each morning. Robbins suggests beginning your day by asking questions like, "What am I excited about today?" or "What can I do today to improve my life?" This primes your brain to focus on positive outcomes and take proactive action. 2. Reframe challenges with better questions. When faced with difficulties, stop asking, "Why is this happening?" and start asking, "How can I use this to grow?" Or what's the opportunity here? This will help you find solutions and maintain a positive outlook. 3. Ask gratitude-focused questions. To improve your emotional state, Robbins advises asking questions like, "What am I grateful for today?" or "Who do I love and who loves me?" These types of questions can instantly shift your mood and bring more positivity into your day. In summary, Robbins shows that the questions you ask yourself have the power to change the direction of your life. By becoming aware of the questions you're asking and replacing disempowering ones with empowering ones, you can transform your focus, emotions, and actions. Ultimately, by asking better questions, you'll get better answers, and those answers will lead to a better life. Chapter 9. The Vocabulary of Ultimate Success. In Chapter 9, Tony Robbins introduces the idea that the words we use, both in our thoughts and in conversation, have a profound impact on our emotional states and overall success. Robbins explains that vocabulary is one of the most powerful tools we have to shape our experience of life. He calls this concept the vocabulary of ultimate success. The main point here is that words are not just labels for experiences, they actually shape how we feel and behave. Robbins argues that by consciously choosing our words, we can significantly influence our emotions and actions. Whether we use empowering language or disempowering language can be the difference between feeling energized and confident or defeated and hopeless. Key concept: transformational vocabulary. Robbins introduces the idea of transformational vocabulary, which is the practice of deliberately using words that empower you and limit negative emotional states. He explains that many people experience heightened emotional reactions simply because of the words they choose to describe their feelings. For example, saying "I'm furious" creates a much stronger emotional response than saying "I'm a little annoyed." By choosing softer, more neutral words, you can reduce the intensity of negative emotions and keep your focus on constructive solutions. On the flip side, using powerful, positive language can elevate your emotional state and give you the energy and confidence to take on challenges. Words like excited, energized, and unstoppable can completely change the way you feel and act in any given moment. Key takeaways. 1. Words shape emotions. The language you use consistently affects how you feel. Negative, dramatic words tend to intensify negative emotions, while positive, empowering words can boost your mood and confidence. 2. Small changes in vocabulary create big changes in emotions. By simply changing the words you use to describe how you feel, you can alter your emotional state. For instance, instead of saying "I'm stressed," you could say "I'm feeling challenged but ready to handle it." This small shift can make a big difference in how you respond to the situation. 3. Empowering words lead to empowering actions. When you use positive, empowering language, you're more likely to take proactive, confident actions. Conversely, when you use negative or disempowering language, you're more likely to feel stuck and act out of fear or frustration. Robbins' strategy for using transformational vocabulary. Robbins provides a practical strategy for using transformational vocabulary to create more empowering emotional states. He suggests that by becoming aware of the words you use to describe your emotions, you can consciously choose words that reduce negativity and increase positivity. 1. Identify disempowering words. The first step is to become aware of the words you habitually use to describe your emotions, especially negative ones. Robbins explains that many people use overly intense words like devastated, furious, or horrified to describe everyday situations. By using such dramatic language, we magnify our negative emotions. 2. Replace them with empowering alternatives. Once you've identified the disempowering words you tend to use, replace them with words that are less emotionally charged or more constructive. For example, instead of saying "I'm terrified," you could say "I'm a bit nervous." This immediately lowers the emotional intensity and makes the situation feel more manageable. 3. Use positive, energizing language regularly. In addition to softening negative emotions, Robbins encourages using empowering words to describe positive emotions. Instead of saying, "I'm okay," say, "I'm fantastic," or "I'm feeling unstoppable today." By using more powerful, uplifting language, you'll start to feel those emotions more deeply and consistently. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares examples of individuals who transformed their emotional lives simply by changing their vocabulary. He describes clients who went from feeling constantly overwhelmed and stressed to feeling more in control and confident, just by using words that reduce the intensity of their emotions. He also explains how leaders, athletes, and successful people use empowering language to maintain a high level of energy and focus. By consistently using positive, action-oriented words, they keep themselves motivated and in a peak emotional state, even when faced with challenges. Actionable steps. 1. Pay attention to your language. Start noticing the words you use to describe your emotions throughout the day. Are they empowering or disempowering? Are they making you feel better or worse? 2. Shift to more neutral or positive words. When you catch yourself using a negative or intense word, immediately replace it with something softer or more constructive. For example, instead of saying, "I'm exhausted," say, "I'm recharging." 3. Boost your positive vocabulary. Consciously add more empowering words to your daily language. Use words like excited, confident, grateful, or unstoppable to describe your emotions, even in challenging situations. This will help you maintain a positive mindset. Robbins closes the chapter by emphasizing that language is one of the easiest and fastest ways to shift your emotional state and create lasting change. By mastering your vocabulary, you can take control of your emotions and direct your life toward greater success and fulfillment. Chapter 10. Destroy the blocks, break down the wall, let go of the rope, and dance your way to success. The power of life metaphors. In Chapter 10, Tony Robbins introduces the idea that the metaphors we use to describe our lives and experiences can have a profound impact on how we feel, act, and view the world. Robbins argues that just like the words we use, the metaphors we choose to define our life experiences can either limit us or empower us. By understanding and changing these metaphors, we can break down barriers and create a mindset that supports success and happiness. A metaphor is a way of describing something by comparing it to something else. For example, some people might say, "I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders," to describe their responsibilities, or "I'm fighting an uphill battle," to describe a challenge. These metaphors shape how we think about our lives and experiences and can either help or hinder us. Key concept: life metaphors shape our reality. Robbins explains that we all use metaphors to describe our lives, often without even realizing it. These metaphors are powerful because they shape our perceptions, emotions, and behaviors. For example, if someone views life as a battle, they may always feel like they're in conflict, constantly fighting against obstacles. On the other hand, if someone sees life as a dance, they might experience more joy, flexibility, and fluidity in their actions. The metaphors we use are often unconscious and reflect deep-seated beliefs about ourselves and the world. The key to transforming your life, Robbins argues, is to become aware of the metaphors you're using and to choose ones that empower rather than limit you. Key takeaways. 1. Metaphors influence emotions and actions. The metaphors you use to describe your life create emotional responses and shape how you act. For instance, viewing life as a struggle will make everything feel difficult and exhausting, while viewing life as an adventure can fill you with excitement and energy. 2. Metaphors can either empower or disempower you. Some metaphors create feelings of limitation, stress, or frustration, while others open up possibilities, excitement, and growth. Robbins urges you to adopt metaphors that inspire creativity, resilience, and joy. 3. You can change your life by changing your metaphors. The good news is that, like vocabulary, metaphors are flexible. Once you become aware of the metaphors you're using, you can choose new ones that align with the life you want to create. The 3 types of metaphors. Robbins identifies 3 types of metaphors that influence our lives. 1. Global metaphors. These are the overarching metaphors we use to describe life itself. For example, some people may see life as a test, a journey, or a game. The global metaphor we choose determines how we experience everything in our life. 2. Identity metaphors. These metaphors define how we see ourselves. For example, some people may think of themselves as warriors, victims, or survivors. Identity metaphors have a huge impact on our self-esteem, confidence, and the way we approach challenges. 3. Situational metaphors. These metaphors describe specific situations or events. For example, you might describe a project as a nightmare or a difficult conversation as walking on eggshells. Changing these metaphors can shift your perspective and emotional response to the situation. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares examples of people who have transformed their lives simply by changing the metaphors they used. For instance, a person who constantly felt overwhelmed by life's challenges described it as being buried alive. By changing the metaphor to climbing a mountain, the individual started to feel empowered, seeing challenges as part of a journey that would ultimately lead to a rewarding destination. Robbins also explains how he has personally shifted his own metaphors. Instead of seeing challenges as battles or struggles, he began to view them as lessons or adventures, which allowed him to approach them with a sense of curiosity and excitement rather than dread or frustration. Actionable steps. 1. Identify the metaphors you use. Take some time to reflect on the metaphors you use to describe your life, yourself, and specific situations. Are these metaphors empowering or limiting? For example, do you view life as a battle, or do you see it as a journey or game? 2. Replace limiting metaphors with empowering ones. Once you've identified your disempowering metaphors, replace them with ones that inspire positivity and action. Instead of seeing life as a struggle, you might choose to see it as a dance or an adventure. These new metaphors can create a shift in your emotional state and help you take on challenges with more enthusiasm. 3. Use metaphors that reflect your goals. Align your metaphors with the kind of life you want to create. If you want more joy, flexibility, and creativity, adopt metaphors that reflect those qualities. For example, you might see life as a garden that requires care and nurturing, or as a canvas where you can express yourself fully. By consciously choosing metaphors that support your goals and empower your mindset, you can break down the mental and emotional barriers that have been holding you back. Robbins shows that even small changes in how we describe our lives can have a significant impact on how we experience and approach them. Chapter 11, The 10 Emotions of Power. In Chapter 11, Tony Robbins introduces a powerful concept, the 10 emotions of power, which he believes are essential for living a fulfilled and successful life. Robbins explains that mastering these emotions can drastically improve not only your emotional well-being, but also your ability to achieve your goals and positively influence those around you. Emotions, Robbins argues, are the driving force behind every action we take, and learning to cultivate empowering emotions will lead to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. Robbins stresses that emotions aren't just reactions to the outside world. They are tools we can consciously control and use to shape our experiences. By learning to harness and cultivate the right emotions, we can build resilience, maintain motivation, and experience greater joy and satisfaction in life. Key concept, mastering emotional states. The central idea here is that emotions are within our control. Robbins explains that many people allow their emotions to dictate their lives, believing that emotions happen to them. However, Robbins insists that we have the ability to cultivate and choose which emotions we experience. By focusing on developing positive, empowering emotions, we can build the emotional resilience and strength necessary to overcome challenges and achieve success. Robbins believes that the following 10 emotions are essential to creating a life filled with joy, purpose, and achievement. He calls them the 10 emotions of power because they can fuel positive action and help you maintain control of your emotional well-being. The 10 emotions of power. 1. Love and warmth. Robbins believes that love is the most powerful emotion of all. When you feel love and warmth toward others, you foster deeper connections and build a sense of fulfillment. Love allows you to break down barriers and create meaningful relationships. 2. Appreciation and gratitude. Practicing gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking in your life to what you already have. This emotional state attracts more positivity and abundance into your life, and it helps you maintain a sense of contentment. 3. Curiosity. Cultivating a sense of curiosity allows you to embrace new experiences and view challenges as opportunities to grow. Curiosity keeps you engaged with life and encourages you to learn and adapt. 4. Excitement and passion. Excitement and passion are the driving forces behind taking action. When you are excited about life and passionate about your goals, you bring energy and enthusiasm to everything you do. 5. Determination. Determination is essential for overcoming obstacles and staying committed to your goals. It's the emotion that drives you to persist even when things get tough. 6. Flexibility. Life is full of changes and unexpected events, so flexibility is a key emotional power. It allows you to adapt to new circumstances and find creative solutions to problems. 7. Confidence. Confidence gives you the belief that you can achieve your goals and handle whatever challenges come your way. This emotion is critical for taking bold action and pursuing your dreams without fear. 8. Cheerfulness. Cheerfulness is about maintaining a light, positive attitude even in the face of adversity. This emotion helps you stay resilient and keep things in perspective. 9. Vitality. Vitality is the feeling of energy and physical strength. Maintaining your physical health through proper nutrition, exercise, and rest plays a big role in how emotionally strong and capable you feel. 10. Contribution. Finally, the emotion of contribution involves a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from helping others and giving back. When you contribute to something bigger than yourself, you feel a sense of purpose and connection. Key takeaways. 1. Emotions are within your control. Robbins emphasizes that you can choose which emotions you cultivate in your life. By consciously focusing on developing empowering emotions, you can create a life that feels more fulfilling and aligned with your goals. 2. These 10 emotions fuel positive action. The 10 emotions of power are not just about feeling good, they also drive you to take meaningful action. When you cultivate love, passion, curiosity, and confidence, you're more likely to pursue your goals with determination and enthusiasm. 3. Gratitude and contribution lead to lasting fulfillment. Robbins emphasizes the importance of gratitude and contribution, noting that these emotions help shift your focus away from selfish concerns and toward making a positive impact on others. This creates a deeper sense of fulfillment. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares examples of how people transformed their lives by mastering these emotions. For instance, someone struggling with adversity might feel determined to persevere, leading them to push through challenges and ultimately achieve their goals. Robbins also explains that cultivating gratitude can change your entire outlook on life, leading to a more positive and fulfilling experience even in difficult times. He gives practical examples of how you can start applying these emotions in everyday life, such as expressing appreciation for the people around you, approaching new experiences with curiosity, or focusing on your physical health to maintain vitality. Actionable steps. 1. Identify which emotions dominate your life. Reflect on the emotions you experience most often. Are they empowering or limiting? Make a conscious effort to focus on cultivating the 10 emotions of power. 2. Practice gratitude daily. One simple way to cultivate a positive emotional state is to practice gratitude. Each day, take a moment to think about 3 things you're grateful for. This will help shift your focus toward positivity. 3. Take action with passion and determination. When working toward your goals, do so with a sense of excitement and purpose. Approach challenges with determination and view them as opportunities to grow. 4. Give back. Make a habit of contributing to others, whether through acts of kindness, volunteer work, or simply being present for the people in your life. Contribution brings a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. The 10 emotions of power are Robbins' blueprint for mastering emotional states and creating a life filled with purpose, joy, and achievement. By focusing on these empowering emotions, you can unlock your potential and take control of your emotional well-being. Chapter 12. The Magnificent Obsession: Creating a Compelling Future. In Chapter 12, Tony Robbins introduces the concept of having a magnificent obsession, which is about creating a compelling vision for your future that pulls you towards success and fulfillment. Robbins explains that the key to long-term happiness and achievement is not only about setting goals, but about creating a future so exciting and powerful that it drives you forward with passion and determination. This chapter focuses on the importance of having a clear, compelling future that energizes you and gives your life purpose. Robbins argues that without a vision of what we want our lives to look like, we become trapped in routine, reactive living, never fully engaging with our potential. To break free from this cycle, we need to cultivate a magnificent obsession, a vision that inspires and motivates us every day. Key concept: a compelling future. Robbins emphasizes that having a compelling future is crucial for long-term motivation and personal fulfillment. This vision acts like a magnet, pulling you toward your goals even when obstacles arise. Without a clear and emotionally charged future, it's easy to lose motivation and fall into complacency. He explains that this future must be vivid, exciting, and deeply personal, tapping into your deepest desires and values. Key takeaways. 1. You need a powerful vision to stay motivated. Robbins argues that people who achieve extraordinary success in life are those who have a compelling vision that drives them forward. This vision gives them a sense of purpose and pushes them through challenges, setbacks, and distractions. 2. Your vision must be emotionally charged. It's not enough to set vague goals like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy. Your future needs to be vivid and emotionally meaningful. The more emotionally connected you are to your vision, the more motivated you will be to take action. 3. This future should align with your values. Robbins explains that your compelling future must be aligned with your core values and what truly matters to you. If your vision is based on societal expectations or external pressures, it won't provide the deep motivation needed for long-term success. Creating a compelling future, Robbins' process. Robbins provides practical steps for creating a compelling future that drives action and fulfillment. 1. Decide what you really want. The first step is getting crystal clear on what you want your future to look like. This requires more than just setting traditional goals like financial success or career achievements. Robbins encourages you to think about the deeper aspects of life, how you want to feel, what kind of relationships you want, the impact you want to make, and the experiences you desire. 2. Make your vision vivid and specific. To create a compelling future, you need to visualize it in great detail. What does your ideal life look like? Where are you living? Who are you spending time with? How are you contributing to the world? Robbins suggests using all your senses to imagine this future, making it as real as possible. 3. Focus on the emotional rewards. Robbins explains that the most effective visions are emotionally charged. You need to feel excited, inspired, and passionate about your future. Think about the emotional rewards that achieving this vision will bring. the feelings of joy, satisfaction, freedom, or love that come with realizing your goals. 4. Break it down into achievable steps. Once you have a compelling vision, the next step is to break it down into smaller, actionable steps. Robbins emphasizes the importance of creating a roadmap that allows you to make consistent progress toward your future. These smaller milestones give you a sense of accomplishment along the way and keep you motivated. 5. Commit to it daily. A compelling future is not something you think about once and forget. Robbins encourages making your vision a part of your daily life. Spend time each day reflecting on your future, visualizing it, and taking action toward it. This daily commitment keeps you focused and driven. Key themes. 1. The power of focus. Robbins stresses that where focus goes, energy flows. By focusing on your compelling future, you direct your energy and attention toward achieving it. When distractions or setbacks arise, your vision pulls you back on track. 2. Passion and obsession drive results. The term magnificent obsession refers to the idea that successful people are obsessed with their vision. This obsession isn't unhealthy. Rather, it's a deep, passionate commitment to creating the life you truly desire. It's this obsession that keeps you going even when the journey gets difficult. 3. Living in alignment with your vision. Robbins explains that a compelling future isn't just about achieving external success. It's about living in alignment with your true values and desires. When your future reflects who you are at your core, the journey becomes fulfilling in itself, not just the destination. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of individuals who transformed their lives by developing a compelling future. He explains that many people who once felt stuck or unmotivated found new energy and drive by focusing on a vision that excited them. One example involves a businessman who shifted from focusing solely on financial goals to creating a future that aligned with his passion for helping others. This shift gave him the motivation and fulfillment he had been missing, ultimately leading to greater success in both his career and personal life. Robbins also uses examples from his own life, sharing how his compelling vision of helping millions of people live better lives became the driving force behind his career and personal success. He explains that this vision gave him the persistence to push through early failures and challenges. Actionable steps. 1. Write down your compelling future. Take time to vividly describe what you want your life to look like in the next 5, 10, or 20 years. Be as specific and detailed as possible. 2. Visualize your future daily. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing your compelling future. Feel the emotions that come with achieving your vision and remind yourself why it's important to you. 3. Take action toward your vision every day. Break your vision into smaller steps and commit to taking action every day. These actions don't have to be huge, but they should move you closer to the life you want to create. 4. Stay obsessed. Keep your vision at the forefront of your mind. When challenges arise, use your compelling future to stay focused and motivated. In this chapter, Robbins drives home the idea that success and fulfillment are not just about achieving external goals, but about having a deeply compelling future that excites and inspires you every day. It's about creating a vision that pulls you forward and gives your life purpose and meaning. Chapter 13, the 10-Day Mental Challenge. In Chapter 13, Tony Robbins presents a transformative exercise called the 10-Day Mental Challenge. This challenge is designed to help you take control of your thoughts and emotions, break negative thinking patterns, and create lasting mental habits that empower you to live a more fulfilling and positive life. The idea behind the challenge is that by consciously managing your mental state for 10 consecutive days, you'll build the foundation for a permanent shift in how you approach life's challenges and opportunities. Robbins believes that most people allow negative thoughts and emotions to dominate their lives without realizing it. This challenge is a way to break free from that cycle and gain control over your mental and emotional well-being. Key concept: the power of thought management. Robbins emphasizes that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. If you let negative thoughts run unchecked, they will influence your emotions, decisions, and actions, ultimately shaping your life in a negative way. The 10-day mental challenge is about taking charge of your mind and deliberately choosing to focus on positive, empowering thoughts. The challenge isn't just about thinking positive thoughts for 10 days. It's about reprogramming your brain to break the habit of indulging in negativity. Robbins explains that this exercise requires discipline and awareness, but the rewards are profound. By the end of the challenge, you will have a clearer, more focused mind and greater emotional control. Key takeaways. 1. You control your thoughts, not the other way around. Robbins explains that thoughts are not just automatic reactions, they are things you can consciously manage. You have the power to choose how you respond to life's events by controlling the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. 2. Negativity is a habit. Many people are stuck in a pattern of negative thinking simply because they've allowed it to become a habit. The 10-day mental challenge is designed to help you break that habit and replace it with empowering mental patterns. 3. Changing your thoughts changes your emotions. Thoughts directly affect your emotions. By managing your thoughts, you take control of your emotional state, which in turn affects how you feel and act in every situation. The rules of the 10-day mental challenge. Robbins outlines specific rules for the 10-day mental challenge to ensure its effectiveness. For the next 10 consecutive days, refuse to dwell on any unproductive or negative thoughts. You can acknowledge challenges, but you're not allowed to indulge in negative thinking or obsess over problems without focusing on solutions. 2. Immediately replace negative thoughts with positive alternatives. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop immediately and replace that thought with something more empowering or solution-focused. For example, if you think, "This is too hard," replace it with, "I can handle this and I'll find a way." 3. Focus only on solutions, not problems. Robbins emphasizes the importance of shifting your focus from problems to solutions. If you find yourself dwelling on a problem, immediately ask yourself, "What can I do to resolve this?" Or, "What's the next step I can take?" 4. If you break the challenge by indulging in negative thinking, you must start over. The challenge requires 10 consecutive days of mental discipline. If you allow yourself to dwell on negative thoughts for more than a minute, you have to start the challenge again from day 1. This rule is meant to build accountability and consistency. 5. Continue to practice gratitude. A core part of the challenge is cultivating gratitude. Throughout the day, focus on what you are grateful for and the positive aspects of your life. This helps to shift your focus away from negativity. Key themes. 1. Mental discipline creates emotional control. Robbins explains that by controlling your thoughts, you naturally gain control over your emotions. When you manage your mental state, you are less likely to be thrown off course by life's challenges. 2. Consistency is key. The challenge isn't easy, but it's designed to build the habit of consistent, positive thinking. By maintaining this discipline for 10 consecutive days, you create a new mental habit that will be easier to sustain over time. 3. Gratitude as a tool for transformation. Throughout the challenge, Robbins stresses the importance of gratitude. Focusing on what you are grateful for helps rewire your brain to focus on positivity and abundance, rather than lack and negativity. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares success stories of people who have transformed their lives using the 10-day mental challenge. One example involves a man who was stuck in a cycle of frustration and negativity at work. By committing to the challenge, he began focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. As a result, he not only improved his emotional state, but also found creative ways to solve issues at work, ultimately leading to more success in his career. Robbins also describes how he has used this challenge himself during difficult times. He explains that the mental discipline developed through this exercise has allowed him to stay focused on solutions and maintain emotional resilience, even when facing significant obstacles. Actionable steps. 1. Start the 10-day mental challenge. Commit to 10 consecutive days of eliminating negative thoughts. Whenever a negative thought arises, immediately replace it with a positive or solution-oriented one. Focus on managing your mental state with discipline. 2. Create a mental reset routine. If you find yourself slipping into negative thinking, develop a quick routine to reset your mindset. This could be taking a deep breath, practicing gratitude, or asking yourself, what can I learn from this? 3. Track your progress. Keep a journal or log during the challenge to track your thoughts, emotions, and progress. Reflect on how your mindset is shifting as you go through the 10 days. 4. Celebrate small victories. Each day you successfully complete the challenge, take a moment to celebrate your progress. Recognizing small wins reinforces the positive mental habits you're building. The 10-day mental challenge is about building mental strength and discipline, creating lasting positive thinking patterns that will transform your emotions and actions. By taking control of your thoughts for 10 consecutive days, Robbins promises that you'll experience a significant shift in how you approach challenges, relationships, and goals. Part 2. Taking Control, the Master System. Chapter 14. Ultimate Influence, Your Master System. In Chapter 14, Tony Robbins delves into the concept of your master system, which is essentially the collection of beliefs, values, and rules that govern every aspect of your life. Robbins explains that this system is what ultimately controls the decisions you make, the actions you take, and how you interpret the world around you. Understanding and mastering this system is crucial for creating the life you want because it determines the standards you live by and how you define success and happiness. The master system consists of 3 core components: your beliefs, values, and rules. Robbins argues that most people are unaware of how these elements work together to shape their reality. By gaining awareness of your personal master system and making intentional changes to it, you can begin to live a life that is truly aligned with your goals and desires. Key concept: your beliefs, values, and rules. Robbins explains that your master system is like the operating system of your mind. It influences everything, from how you feel about yourself to how you handle challenges. To achieve lasting change, you need to gain control over this system by identifying and aligning these 3 key components. 1. Beliefs. Robbins has already covered beliefs in previous chapters, but here he emphasizes that beliefs are the foundation of your master system. What you believe about yourself and the world shapes your perception of what is possible. Limiting beliefs will keep you stuck, while empowering beliefs will push you to take action and achieve your goals. 2. Values. Values are the emotional states that you prioritize in your life. They dictate what you are most motivated to experience, for example, pleasure, or avoid, for example, pain. Robbins breaks values into 2 types. First, moving toward values. These are the positive emotional states you strive for, such as love, success, or happiness. Second, moving away from values. These are the emotional states you try to avoid, such as rejection, failure, or frustration. 3. Rules. Rules are the standards you set for yourself, determining what needs to happen for you to feel successful, happy, or fulfilled. These rules are often unconscious, and they can either empower you or limit you. For example, if your rule for success is, "I'll be successful only when everyone loves me," you've set yourself up for disappointment, because this rule is almost impossible to satisfy. Key takeaways. 1. Your master system controls your decisions and actions. Robbins emphasizes that the beliefs, values, and rules that make up your master system guide every choice you make. By understanding and reshaping this system, you gain control over your life. 2. Values drive your behavior. Whether you realize it or not, your actions are constantly motivated by your values. Robbins explains that when your values are clear and aligned with your goals, you're more likely to live a fulfilled and purposeful life. However, if your values are in conflict, you'll experience frustration and a lack of progress. 3. You need empowering rules to feel fulfilled. Robbins suggests that most people create rules that make it difficult to feel happy or successful. For example, if your rule for happiness is, "I can only be happy if I have no problems," you'll rarely feel happy. By setting more empowering, achievable rules, you can experience success and fulfillment more easily. How to master your master system. Robbins outlines the process for identifying and mastering your beliefs, values, and rules, so you can create a life that is aligned with your highest goals and desires. 1. Identify your beliefs. Take time to reflect on the core beliefs that drive your decisions and actions. Are these beliefs helping you move toward your goals, or are they holding you back? For example, if you believe, "I'm not good enough," that belief will limit your potential. 2. Clarify your values. Make a list of your top moving toward values and your top moving away from values. Ask yourself, what do I value most in life? And what am I most afraid of experiencing? Understanding what motivates you and what you fear is crucial for mastering your behavior. 3. Create empowering rules. Examine the rules you've set for yourself around happiness, success, and fulfillment. If your rules are too rigid or unrealistic, change them to make it easier for you to feel successful and happy. For instance, instead of "I'll only be happy when I'm wealthy," change your rule to "I can be happy whenever I'm growing and learning." Align your master system with your goals. Once you have a clear understanding of your beliefs, values, and rules, ensure they are aligned with the future you want to create. If any part of your master system is in conflict with your goals, change it to support your vision of success and happiness. Key themes. 1. Your internal world shapes your external results. Robbins stresses that what happens inside your mind, your beliefs, values, and rules, determines what you achieve externally. If your internal system is disempowering, your results will reflect that. 2. You can change your master system at any time. The empowering message of this chapter is that you have the power to reprogram your master system. Once you recognize how it's shaping your life, you can change your beliefs, values, and rules to create a new reality. 3. Living by conflicting values leads to frustration. Robbins highlights that many people feel stuck or dissatisfied because their values are in conflict. For example, someone might value both freedom and security, but these two values often clash. The key is to prioritize and align your values in a way that leads to harmony and fulfillment. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of individuals who transform their lives by reprogramming their master system. He explains how people who were previously stuck in limiting patterns changed their beliefs, aligned their values, and rewrote their rules to create a life that was more fulfilling and aligned with their goals. For instance, Robbins describes a man who struggled with self-doubt because his belief was, "I'm not capable of success." By changing that belief to "I can learn and grow in any situation," the man unlocked his potential and started achieving his goals. Robbins also provides examples of people who shifted their values from avoiding failure to seeking growth, which allowed them to embrace challenges and pursue success more confidently. Actionable steps. 1. Review your master system. Take some time to reflect on your beliefs, values, and rules. Write down the ones that are guiding your life right now and assess whether they are empowering or limiting you. 2. Change limiting beliefs. Identify one limiting belief and replace it with an empowering belief. For example, change "I'm not good enough" to "I have the ability to learn and improve." 3. Realign your values. Look for any conflicts in your values that may be causing frustration or holding you back. Decide which values are most important to you and prioritize them accordingly. 4. Rewrite your rules for happiness and success. If you've set rules that make it difficult for you to feel happy or successful, change them. Create rules that are empowering and easier to achieve, such as I feel successful when I take positive action toward my goals. In this chapter, Robbins teaches that mastering your master system is essential for living a life that aligns with your highest values and goals. By taking control of your beliefs, values, and rules, you can create a life of purpose, fulfillment, and success. Chapter 15, Life Values, Your Personal Compass. In Chapter 15, Tony Robbins emphasizes the critical importance of life values and how they act as a personal compass, guiding your decisions, behaviors, and ultimately your destiny. Robbins argues that values are the driving force behind everything we do. They influence how we prioritize our time, the goals we pursue, and the way we measure success and fulfillment. Robbins explains that many people feel stuck, frustrated, or unfulfilled because their values are either unclear or in conflict with one another. This chapter is all about understanding the role that values play in shaping our lives and learning how to identify and realign those values to create harmony and purpose. Key concept: the power of values. Robbins defines values as the emotional states we seek to experience or avoid. These are deeply ingrained in us and often operate unconsciously, but they drive everything we do. Values dictate what we consider important, and they shape our sense of what is good, bad, desirable, or undesirable. However, most people never consciously examine their values, which leads to confusion and internal conflict. There are two main types of values. 1. Moving toward values. These are the positive emotional states we strive to experience, such as love, success, security, or adventure. 2. Moving away from values. These are the negative emotional states we seek to avoid, such as failure, rejection, frustration, or pain. Robbins explains that these values serve as our emotional compass, but if they are misaligned or in conflict, they can cause frustration, anxiety, and a lack of fulfillment. For example, someone may value both success and security, but these two values might conflict if they fear taking risks. As a result, they may feel stuck, wanting to achieve more but being held back by the need for security. Key takeaways. 1. Values determine your priorities. Robbins emphasizes that values are what guide your daily decisions and long-term goals. Understanding your values helps you clarify what truly matters to you and ensures that your actions align with your priorities. 2. Conflicting values lead to frustration. One of the most common reasons people feel stuck is that they have values that are in conflict with one another. For example, someone who values adventure but also craves certainty might struggle to take action because these values pull them in opposite directions. 3. Align your values with your goals. To create a fulfilling life, Robbins stresses the importance of aligning your values with the life you want to create. If your values don't support your goals, you'll experience internal resistance and struggle to make progress. The hierarchy of values. Robbins explains that not all values hold equal weight in our lives. We all have a hierarchy of values where certain values take precedence over others. For example, one person might prioritize love and connection above all else, while another might prioritize success and achievement. The hierarchy of values is important because it determines how we make decisions. If success is your highest value, you'll make different decisions than someone whose top value is security. Robbins explains that most people aren't aware of their value hierarchy, which leads to confusion and inconsistency in their actions. Robbins' process for identifying and realigning values. Robbins outlines a process for identifying and realigning your values so that they support your vision for life. 1. Identify your current values. Robbins encourages you to take time to reflect on your current values, both moving toward and moving away from. Ask yourself, what emotional states do I want to experience most in life? And what emotional states do I try to avoid? List these values and rank them in order of importance. 2. Examine your value hierarchy. Once you've identified your values, take a closer look at how they are prioritized in your life. Are your highest values aligned with your goals and desires? Are there any conflicting values that are holding you back? 3. Determine if your values are empowering or limiting. Robbins explains that some values may be limiting your growth. For example, if security is your top value, it might prevent you from taking the risks necessary to achieve success. Evaluate whether your values are helping or hindering your progress. 4. Reorganize your values. If your current values aren't aligned with the life you want to create, Robbins suggests reorganizing them. This means consciously elevating certain values and lowering the importance of others. For example, if you want to take more risks in life, you might choose to prioritize growth and adventure over security. Key themes. 1. Values shape your destiny. Robbins emphasizes that your values are the foundation of your decisions and actions. If your values aren't aligned with your goals, you'll experience frustration and struggle to create lasting change. 2. Reevaluating your values is essential for growth. Just because certain values have guided you in the past doesn't mean they should continue to do so. Robbins encourages you to regularly reevaluate your values and adjust them to reflect your evolving goals and desires. 3. Aligning values with your vision creates harmony. When your values support your goals and are aligned with your vision for life, you'll experience greater fulfillment, purpose, and clarity. This alignment allows you to make decisions more confidently and move forward without internal resistance. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares examples of people who transformed their lives by realigning their values. One example involves a man who struggled with conflicting values. He wanted to be successful, but was held back by a deep-seated value for comfort and security. By recognizing this conflict, the man was able to consciously elevate his value for growth and risk-taking, which led to greater success and fulfillment in his career. Robbins also explains how people often hold on to outdated values that no longer serve them. For instance, someone might value approval from others because it was important during childhood, but as an adult, this value might prevent them from taking bold actions or pursuing their true desires. Actionable steps. 1. Write down your top 5 moving toward values. Identify the emotional states you most want to experience in life, for example, love, success, freedom. Rank them in order of importance. 2. Write down your top 5 moving away from values. Identify the emotional states you most want to avoid, for example, rejection, failure, frustration. Rank them in order of how much you try to avoid them. 3. Look for conflicts. Are any of your moving toward values in conflict with your moving away from values? For example, does your desire for success conflict with your fear of failure? Identify any areas of internal resistance. 4. Reorganize your values. If you find that your current values are limiting your progress or causing internal conflict, consciously reorganize them. Decide which values will take priority and which ones you'll choose to downplay or reframe. By understanding and realigning your values, Robbins argues that you can create a more fulfilling and harmonious life. Values are the emotional drivers behind every decision you make, and when you bring them into alignment with your vision for success, you unlock your full potential. Chapter 16. Rules. If you're not happy, here's why. In Chapter 16, Tony Robbins introduces the idea that our personal rules, the conditions we set for how we experience emotions like happiness, success, or fulfillment, are often the key reason why we feel unhappy or unfulfilled. Robbins explains that everyone has a set of unconscious rules that dictate when and how they allow themselves to feel certain emotions, and these rules can either empower us or hold us back. Robbins emphasizes that many people create rules that make it difficult or nearly impossible to feel happy or successful. For example, someone might have a rule that says, "I'll only feel successful if everyone approves of me," which is an unrealistic and limiting condition. This chapter is about becoming aware of your personal rules and learning how to rewrite them so that they empower you rather than limit you. Key concept: the power of rules. Robbins defines rules as the specific beliefs or standards we have that determine when we feel certain emotions. These rules govern how we respond to situations, what we expect from others, and what conditions must be met for us to feel happy, successful, loved, or fulfilled. Robbins explains that if you're not happy, it's often because your rules for happiness are too rigid or unrealistic. Many people have unconscious rules that require external circumstances, such as the behavior of others, achievements, or status, to align perfectly before they can feel satisfied. This creates a cycle of frustration because these rules are rarely met. Key takeaways. 1. Your rules dictate how easily or difficultly you experience emotions. Robbins explains that your rules determine whether it's easy or difficult for you to feel emotions like happiness or success. If your rules are too strict, you may rarely feel positive emotions. If they are flexible and empowering, you'll feel more fulfilled. 2. We often set ourselves up for failure with our rules. Many people create rules that are unrealistic or impossible to achieve. For example, if your rule for happiness is, "I can only be happy when I have no problems," you're setting yourself up for constant disappointment because life will always have challenges. 3. You can change your rules to empower yourself. Robbins argues that once you become aware of your rules, you can consciously change them to make it easier to feel happy, successful, and fulfilled. By creating empowering rules, you set yourself up for more positive emotions. Understanding your personal rules. Robbins explains that most people are unaware of the rules that govern their emotions, but these rules are deeply ingrained in how we experience life. These rules typically stem from past experiences, societal expectations, or the standards set by family or culture. For example, someone might have internalized the rule, "I can only feel loved if I'm constantly giving to others," which makes it difficult for them to feel loved unless they're sacrificing their own needs. Robbins encourages readers to reflect on the rules they've created for themselves. He suggests that you ask yourself, what has to happen for me to feel happy? What has to happen for me to feel successful? These questions help you identify the conditions you've unconsciously set for feeling positive emotions. Rewriting your rules for happiness and success. Once you've identified your rules, Robbins explains how to rewrite them to create more empowering, achievable standards. The key is to simplify your rules and focus on things you can control. For example, instead of having a rule like, "I'll be happy when everyone respects me," you can change it to, "I'll be happy whenever I choose to focus on the positive aspects of my life." Robbins emphasizes that empowering rules make it easier to feel good because they rely on internal factors rather than external ones. If your happiness is dependent on circumstances beyond your control, you'll constantly feel at the mercy of outside events. The 3 types of rules. Robbins identifies 3 main types of rules that affect how we experience life. 1. Rules for happiness. These are the conditions you set for when you'll allow yourself to feel happy. If your rule for happiness is too complicated or based on external factors, like always receiving praise or achieving specific outcomes, you'll rarely feel happy. A simple, empowering rule might be, "I'm happy whenever I'm learning or growing." 2. Rules for success. Many people have rules for success that are hard to achieve, such as, "I'll only feel successful when I've reached a certain income level," or "I'll be successful if everyone approves of me." Robbins advises creating rules that make success attainable, like, "I feel successful whenever I take positive action toward my goals." 3. Rules for love and connection. These rules dictate when you allow yourself to feel loved or connected to others. If your rules are too rigid, for example, "I'll only feel loved when others do exactly what I want," you'll likely feel disconnected. More empowering rules might be, "I feel loved when I appreciate the people in my life," or "I feel connected when I make an effort to be present with others." Key themes. 1. You control your happiness by controlling your rules. Robbins stresses that you have the power to decide when and how you feel emotions like happiness or success. By changing your rules, you can make it easier to experience positive emotions. 2. Unrealistic rules create frustration and unhappiness. Many people create rules that set them up for failure. When the conditions for happiness or success are too hard to meet, you'll rarely feel fulfilled. 3. Empowering rules lead to more consistent joy and fulfillment. By creating rules that are simple, flexible, and based on things you can control, you can experience happiness, success, and love more consistently. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of individuals who transformed their emotional lives by changing their personal rules. One example involves a woman who struggled with feeling loved because her rule for love was, "I'll feel loved when people always agree with me." This unrealistic rule created constant frustration in her relationships. By changing her rule to, "I'll feel loved when I'm open and present with others," she was able to feel more connected and experience deeper relationships. Another example involves a man who never felt successful because his rule was, "I'll only feel successful when I've achieved complete financial independence." This rule left him feeling like a failure, even though he had already made significant strides in his career. By shifting his rule to, "I feel successful whenever I'm making progress toward my financial goals," he was able to feel more fulfilled on his journey. Actionable steps. 1. Identify your rules. Take a moment to reflect on your personal rules for happiness, success, and love. Ask yourself, what has to happen for me to feel happy? What has to happen for me to feel successful? What has to happen for me to feel loved? 2. Simplify and empower your rules. If your rules are too complicated or based on external factors, rewrite them to be more empowering and achievable. Focus on things you can control, such as your actions and mindset, rather than external validation. 3. Test your new rules. Begin applying your new empowering rules in everyday life. Notice how changing your rules makes it easier to feel positive emotions and how it shifts your perspective on success, happiness, and connection. In this chapter, Robbins encourages readers to take responsibility for their emotional experiences by becoming aware of and rewriting their personal rules. He teaches that by creating simpler, more empowering rules, we can unlock greater happiness, fulfillment, and success in our lives. Chapter 17, References, the Fabric of Life. In Chapter 17, Tony Robbins explores the concept of references and their critical role in shaping our beliefs, values, and decisions. Robbins explains that references are the experiences, knowledge, and influences we draw upon to form our view of the world and ourselves. These references act as the foundation for our belief systems, and in turn, they govern how we interpret events, make decisions, and take action in life. Robbins emphasizes that if we want to change our beliefs and behaviors, we must first examine and expand the references we rely on. The more diverse and empowering our references, the more flexible and empowering our beliefs become. On the other hand, limiting or negative references create limiting beliefs that hold us back from achieving our potential. Key concept: the importance of references. Robbins defines references as the building blocks of beliefs. Every belief we hold is based on specific references, which can come from personal experiences, things we've been told, or even what we've observed in others. These references are what give proof to our beliefs, whether they are empowering or limiting. For example, if someone has had a series of negative experiences with relationships, their references might lead them to form a belief that relationships never work out. On the other hand, someone who has seen many examples of successful relationships might form the belief that love is possible. The key, according to Robbins, is that beliefs can change by changing or adding new references. Key takeaways. 1. References form the foundation of beliefs. Every belief we hold, whether positive or negative, is based on the references we've accumulated over time. These references act as evidence that reinforces our beliefs. 2. Empowering references lead to empowering beliefs. Robbins emphasizes that if we want to hold empowering beliefs, we must seek out empowering references. The more positive, diverse, and supportive references we have, the stronger our empowering beliefs become. 3. Limiting references create limiting beliefs. Negative or limiting references lead to limiting beliefs that hold us back. For example, if someone's only references for success involve struggle and failure, they may believe success is unattainable. Building a strong reference base. Robbins explains that most people are unaware of the references they're relying on when forming beliefs. He suggests that it's essential to become conscious of these references and to actively seek out new, more empowering ones. This is particularly important when you're trying to change a limiting belief, as you'll need new evidence, references, to support a more empowering belief. Robbins encourages readers to expand their reference base by exposing themselves to new experiences, seeking out role models, and learning from others who have achieved what they want to achieve. The more references you accumulate that align with the beliefs you want to hold, the easier it becomes to shift your mindset. The role of imagination and mentors. One of the most powerful tools for creating new references, Robbins explains, is imagination. Even if you don't have personal experiences that align with the beliefs you want to adopt, you can use your imagination to create positive references. For example, you can visualize yourself succeeding or achieving your goals, creating mental references that reinforce a belief in your capabilities. In addition to imagination, Robbins highlights the importance of mentors and role models as sources of empowering references. By learning from people who have already achieved the success you're seeking, you can adopt their experiences as references for what's possible in your own life. Key themes. 1. You can change your beliefs by changing your references. Robbins stresses that beliefs aren't fixed. By consciously seeking out new, empowering references, you can shift your beliefs to support your goals and desires. 2. Limiting beliefs often come from narrow or negative references. If you're struggling with a limiting belief, it's likely because your references for that belief are narrow, outdated, or negative. The solution is to find new, more diverse references that challenge the old belief. 3. Imagination and role models provide powerful references. Even if you don't have direct personal experiences that support a new belief, you can use your imagination or look to the experiences of others to create empowering references. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of people who transformed their lives by expanding their references. One example involves an individual who believed they were incapable of success because they had only experienced failure in the past. By surrounding themselves with successful people and studying their stories, they were able to shift their belief and see that success was possible for them as well. Robbins also describes how he has used imagination to create references when he was facing challenges. For example, when he was working toward his career goals but hadn't yet achieved the success he envisioned, he used visualization techniques to imagine himself succeeding. These mental references helped reinforce his belief that success was inevitable. Actionable steps. 1. Identify the references that support your beliefs. Take time to reflect on the references that are reinforcing your current beliefs. Are they positive or limiting? What experiences or influences have shaped your view of yourself and the world? 2. Seek out new, empowering references. Look for new references that align with the beliefs you want to adopt. This could involve learning from successful people, reading inspiring stories, or seeking out new experiences that challenge your old beliefs. 3. Use imagination to create positive references. If you don't yet have personal references for a belief you want to adopt, use your imagination to create them. Visualize yourself succeeding, growing, or achieving your goals. These mental references can be just as powerful as real-life experiences. 4. Find mentors and role models. Learn from people who have achieved the success you want. Their experiences can become your references, showing you that what you want is possible. Key concept: references as the fabric of life. Robbins explains that references are the fabric of life because they shape every belief, value, and decision we make. If you want to change your life, you must first change the references that form the foundation of your beliefs. The more empowering references you have, the more confident and capable you'll feel in achieving your goals. In this chapter, Robbins teaches that by consciously expanding and upgrading your reference base, you can break free from limiting beliefs and create a mindset that supports success, growth, and fulfillment. Chapter 18. Identity, the key to expansion. In Chapter 18 of Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins explores the concept of identity and how it serves as the core of our beliefs, values, and behaviors. Robbins argues that identity, which is the way we define ourselves, is one of the most powerful forces shaping our lives. Your identity dictates not only what you believe you are capable of, but also the standards you set for yourself and the actions you take. If you want to create lasting change in any area of your life, Robbins insists that you must begin by transforming your identity. Robbins explains that many people feel stuck or unable to achieve their goals because they have an identity that is out of alignment with their desires. For example, someone who identifies as a procrastinator will struggle to adopt habits of discipline and productivity because their actions are shaped by their self-concept. The key to achieving lasting success and fulfillment, Robbins argues, is to redefine your identity in a way that empowers you to reach your goals. Key concept: identity shapes behavior. The central idea in this chapter is that who you believe you are determines the actions you will take and the results you will achieve. Robbins emphasizes that identity is not something fixed or inherent. It's a construct that we have the power to change. However, most people are unaware of the deep impact their identity has on their behavior and life outcomes. Robbins explains that people tend to act consistently with their identity. If you see yourself as a healthy person, you'll naturally make decisions that support that belief, such as exercising regularly and eating well. On the other hand, if your identity includes the belief that I'm not good with money, you'll unconsciously make decisions that reinforce financial struggle, regardless of external circumstances. Key takeaways. 1. Identity drives behavior. Robbins stresses that your identity is the strongest force in shaping your behavior. You will always act in a way that is consistent with who you believe you are. If you want to change your actions, you need to change the way you see yourself. 2. Limiting identities keep you stuck. Many people are trapped in limiting identities such as, I'm not smart enough, I'm always late, or I'm bad at relationships. These identities prevent growth because they dictate limiting beliefs and behaviors. 3. You can change your identity. Robbins argues that identity is not fixed. You have the power to redefine who you are at any moment. By consciously choosing a new identity, you can align your behavior with your goals and create lasting change. The power of identity shifts. Robbins explains that when people make significant changes in their lives, it's often because they've experienced a shift in identity. For example, someone who identifies as a smoker will continue smoking despite knowing the health risks because that behavior aligns with their identity. However, when that person shifts their identity to I am a non-smoker, their behavior naturally follows, and they quit smoking. This principle applies to all areas of life. If you identify as a procrastinator, you'll continue putting things off because it aligns with how you see yourself. But if you shift your identity to I'm a productive person, your actions will begin to reflect that new belief. Robbins explains that identity shifts happen when you make a conscious decision to redefine who you are and what you stand for. This often involves questioning old beliefs and adopting new standards for yourself. The moment you decide, this is who I am now, you begin to create change at the deepest level. Key themes. 1. You act in accordance with your identity. Robbins emphasizes that no matter how much external motivation or pressure you receive, you will always act in a way that aligns with your internal identity. If you want to make lasting changes in your life, you need to change your self-concept. 2. Your identity is not fixed. Robbins wants readers to understand that identity is not something you are born with, it's something you create. You have the power to redefine your identity at any time. 3. Changing your identity requires a conscious decision. Robbins explains that shifting your identity begins with a clear, conscious decision. You must choose to let go of old, limiting identities and adopt a new, empowering one that aligns with the future you want to create. Examples from the chapter. Robbins shares stories of individuals who made dramatic life changes after shifting their identity. One example is of a man who had struggled with his weight for years. Despite trying various diets and workout routines, he couldn't maintain lasting change because he identified as someone who was always overweight. It wasn't until he redefined his identity as a healthy, fit person that his actions aligned with that belief, and he achieved permanent weight loss. Robbins also recounts his own experience with identity shifts. Early in his career, Robbins struggled with public speaking because he identified as someone who wasn't confident in front of large crowds. By redefining his identity as a powerful communicator and speaker, Robbins was able to transform his approach to public speaking and become the dynamic speaker he is today. Actionable steps. 1. Examine your current identity. Robbins encourages readers to take a deep look at how they currently define themselves. What labels do you use to describe yourself? Are these labels limiting or empowering? Write down the identities that are shaping your behavior. 2. Decide on a new identity. Once you've identified the limiting aspects of your current identity, make a conscious decision to redefine yourself. Choose a new identity that aligns with the life you want to create. For example, if you've always seen yourself as undisciplined, redefine yourself as someone who follows through on commitments. 3. Align your behavior with your new identity. After you've made the decision to adopt a new identity, start taking actions that align with it. If your new identity is I'm a healthy person, begin making daily choices that reflect that identity, such as exercising regularly or eating nutritious foods. 4. Reinforce your identity daily. Robbins advises readers to consistently reinforce their new identity by reminding themselves of who they've chosen to become. This can be done through affirmations, visualization, and reflecting on actions that align with the new identity. Key concept: identity as the key to expansion. Robbins emphasizes that identity is the key to expansion in all areas of life. When you expand your identity, you expand your potential for growth, achievement, and fulfillment. By redefining who you are, you create new possibilities for your future and unlock the ability to achieve your highest goals. In this chapter, Robbins teaches that lasting change begins with a shift in identity. When you redefine yourself, your behavior naturally follows, leading to greater success, fulfillment, and personal growth. Review of the book. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is a powerful and transformative book that has helped millions of people take control of their lives by tapping into their potential. Robbins masterfully combines personal development strategies with actionable steps, offering readers tools to achieve lasting change in their emotions, behaviors, and mindset. With a focus on taking ownership of your decisions, mastering your emotions, and adopting empowering beliefs, Robbins lays out a roadmap for creating a fulfilling, successful life. One of the standout qualities of the book is Robbins' ability to simplify complex psychological concepts. He breaks down big ideas like identity, beliefs, values, and emotional mastery into understandable and practical steps that anyone can follow. Whether you're struggling with relationships, career, finances, or self-esteem, Robbins provides a wealth of tools and exercises that allow readers to create real and lasting change in these areas. What makes the book stand out? 1. Actionable insights. Unlike many self-help books that focus solely on theory, Awaken the Giant Within provides tangible strategies and exercises that readers can apply immediately. Robbins emphasizes that change doesn't have to be slow. It can happen in an instant, and his techniques give readers the tools to make powerful shifts in their lives. 2. Practical emotional mastery. Robbins' teachings on emotional mastery are particularly impactful. He shows readers how to manage their emotions, break negative patterns, and cultivate empowering emotional states that fuel success and happiness. His concept of neuro-associative conditioning helps individuals rewire their responses to triggers, making it easier to adopt positive behaviors. 3. Belief and identity shifts. The focus on shifting limiting beliefs and identity is one of the most valuable aspects of the book. Robbins shows that lasting change begins when you redefine who you are and what you believe about yourself. His approach helps readers break free from self-imposed limitations and expand their potential. 4. Real-life examples and stories. Throughout the book, Robbins uses engaging stories and examples to illustrate his points, making the concepts easier to grasp. These examples give readers a sense of how his methods have worked for others, inspiring confidence that they, too, can achieve success. 5. Comprehensive framework. The book covers everything from decision-making and goal-setting to managing relationships, finances, and health. Robbins provides a holistic framework for achieving success in all areas of life, ensuring readers can apply his teachings to whatever challenges they face. Positives. 1. Empowering message. At its core, Awaken the Giant Within is deeply empowering. Robbins teaches that we all have the power to change our lives, no matter where we are starting from. His belief in the potential of every individual shines through on every page, encouraging readers to take control and create the life they desire. 2. Engaging and accessible. Robbins' writing style is engaging and conversational, making the book easy to read despite its depth. His ability to connect with readers through personal anecdotes and motivational language helps keep the content relatable and inspiring. 3. Step-by-step guidance. For readers looking for clear, actionable steps to improve their lives, this book delivers. Robbins provides detailed instructions for everything from setting goals and managing emotions to rewiring beliefs and shifting identity. 4. Holistic approach. Robbins addresses multiple aspects of life such as emotional well-being, financial success, relationships, and health, making this a comprehensive guide for personal growth. Potential drawbacks. While the book is overwhelmingly positive and packed with practical advice, it may feel a bit long for some readers. At nearly 500 pages, the content can be dense, and those looking for a quick read might find it challenging to get through. However, for those willing to invest the time, the book's depth is one of its strengths. Additionally, some of Robbins' techniques, like Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC, may take time and effort to fully implement. Readers should approach the book with patience and a willingness to apply the strategies consistently to see lasting results. Final thoughts. Awaken the Giant Within is a must-read for anyone seeking personal transformation. Robbins provides a comprehensive toolkit for changing your mindset, mastering your emotions, and creating a compelling vision for your future. His emphasis on the power of decisions, beliefs, and identity makes this book a transformative guide for readers at any stage of their personal development journey. For those who are ready to take control of their lives and make lasting change, Awaken the Giant Within offers the insights, tools, and motivation to unlock their full potential. While it requires dedication and self-reflection, the book is a valuable resource for anyone committed to growth and success. Overall, Robbins' message is clear. You have the power to shape your destiny, and Awaken the Giant Within shows you how to do it.